What's going on, everybody? You are tuned into another episode of Lay It On Me. I am your host, Brax B, and we have another phenomenal episode lined up for you today. Listen, there is no need for some strong introduction. There is no accolades list because we don't care about that today.
At all.
We just going to get right into it.
Keep the formalities short.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure of sitting down with the Flower Guy Bron.
Hey, y'all. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us, man. Oh, my goodness. We go back, way back. What's been going on, man? How's everything?
Oh, everything's good. I'll tell you, we probably have known each other for well over 25, about 25 years at least.
Yeah.
So a lot has happened in that time. We are in business, entrepreneurs, and we're just taking it day by day.
Yeah.
So nothing too incredible, but I guess the conversation will flesh out some things that maybe might be incredible to somebody.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody.
Yeah.
It's going to touch somebody.
Yeah, let's see.
Man, good stuff, man. So, class of 2003 at Thomasdale.
Yes.
Class of 2007 at Thomasdale. So we like you said, we go way back, man, and it's been a lot of things that happened in between that time.
Yes.
So for those who don't know and they're watching this, man, who is Bron?
Who's Bron?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Bron, first of all, is a follower of Christ. I have to start there. My journey would not be what it is today if it had not been for the Lord's grace and mercy. So I have to acknowledge that first of all. Second of all, I am a person who loves people. I'm a people person, very people-centric in terms of how people feel, how people are perceived. Everything about a person is important to me. So I'd like to say I'm a people-centric Christian. I'm married to my husband, my college sweetheart. We've been together, married for 13 years.
Wow.
And together for 18. Wow. So I'm also a spouse, which is a really important role, and looking forward to being a parent soon.
Good. Congratulations on
Thank
all
you.
of that, man.
Thank
Oh
you.
my goodness. Notice he said a people person and not a people pleaser.
It's funny though. I'm gonna tell you the truth of the matter is a little bit of the pleasing does come in to being a people person.
Okay.
It's a unique space for me to be in, to be able to give people a feeling of arrival, a sense of comfort, and that comes at a sacrifice. And so people don't even necessarily know that they need it, but I'm able to give that. And so it's a sacrifice. It's kind of like, welcoming people to the church. You want people to feel comfortable. And you don't necessarily owe people that, but it's a gift. It's a gift.
For sure. Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. And you talked about you being a follower of Christ and spirituality.
Absolutely.
Like, where did that come from? Like, let's go back just a little bit to childhood. Like, where did that passion or that purpose come from?
Yeah, so church has always been a part of my life. When I was in grade school, we always went to church. So it was always a joke at my house. If you spent the night at my house on a Saturday night, no matter what you packed for the next day, you were going to church. Okay, Amen. It was just what it was. And I would say that foundation, definitely once we transitioned into college, was the bedrock of how I was able to make it through those transitional years of discovery and finding myself. But I would say also, while in undergrad is where my faith was really tested, and experiencing what we would say is adult type scenarios, actually coming out and acknowledging who I am as a person, in a time that wasn't quite as the same. Like a lot changes every 10 years in terms of acceptance, so just, having that foundation gave me the strength and the ability to be able to be who I am.
Yeah, good. And in that journey of finding yourself, I know we talked about people pleasing and people person and all that stuff. Like, were there some people or friends, right? We don't want to use that term too loosely, that did not agree with what you chose to do.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. As a matter of fact, one of my closest friends in undergrad, a roommate for years, like someone that I would think would have been a lifelong friend, just couldn't make that transition with me. And that's okay. Like in hindsight, it's 2020. Everyone's not. I acknowledge that everyone's not meant to be in every space with you.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily compromise or jeopardize what really was a real thing. And so, things transition, people change, but absolutely there was some pushback. I don't even think my own immediate family was overjoyed, but that's also because of a lack of exposure, a lack of understanding, and just life experiences. And then, when you take a step back and it's like, I've been loving this person exactly the same way this amount of time, so what really changed? So it's like, okay, take a step back. You be all right. You be all right. You'll be all right. Yeah. And now here we are.
Wow, here we are. Man, that's amazing. And undergrad was where again?
At Howard.
Howard.
HU.
The real HU?
The what? The which one? I didn't say it. The which one?
The real HU?
The real one. We can't argue dates. We cannot argue dates. Established the first.
Listen, everybody who knows.
I know you got some Hamptonians on here. I know. It's okay.
I went to Virginia Union. So I don't got no dog in the fight.
But the kicker is, I live in Virginia Union's neighborhood. I can hear the band practice every night. So like I'm with all the HBCUs.
Yeah, there we go.
Period. Yeah.
HBCU pride, man. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
But that's what's up. Howard University.
Yes.
The Mecca. Right? The Bison.
Yes.
Right? What were some valuable lessons that you learned while in undergrad at Howard?
Oh, honestly, the decision to go to Howard was the most important decision that I ever made. It was the most important decision because it was where I found my spouse. It is where some of my closest relationships to this day were founded. And it was also where I realized that that my faith was actually real, because I had to depend on it.
Wow.
And so Howard will always have a special place in my heart. Some of the lessons that I learned was loyalty. Loyalty.
It's big.
Absolute loyalty. The friends that I have maintained throughout the last 20 plus years of Howard exposure are friends that I can depend on in any scenario.
Wow.
And the most important scenarios are where I require emotional maturity, and to be able to have a conversation with someone who's like-minded and can give me feedback that's really relevant, not rah.
Right.
So loyalty is one of the best lessons, or most important lessons that I've learned at Howard. And then also the influence of how kindness can impact the scenarios that you find yourself in. Whether it was in the financial aid office and encountering the person who got it done. Encountering the person in the cafeteria when your meal card might not swipe or go through, who let you through and didn't hold up the line. It was the bus driver who saw you running to catch the shuttle to the campus to go to class. It was that. It was a community, a minority community that cared. And regardless of any publicity that Howard University might be getting, I think we've been in the news recently with enrollment, and we disenrolled 500 people, and I don't have all of the information, and am not going to be a spokesman for Howard. But actually I will be a spokesman for Howard, but not that situation. But what I will say is you can't argue history. You can't argue the products. You can't argue that. And so Howard's a special place. I could go on and on and on.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I've visited Howard a number of times, and for various reasons. But I think what you speak on about the kindness and the loyalty of that community is very indicative of how we've been for so many years, right?
Absolutely.
Just at Thomasdale and just rolling over into Howard, the kindness, the loyalty. Like when we met before this, it's just like back like we never left. Because essentially we never did. Like
never left.
We just went our separate ways to
live,
pursue and live. Right? Pursue all of the things that we've been growing and thinking about in our minds, right? And so one of the main things that we've discussed right now is passion and purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when you were on the yard of Howard and you were finding your way, right? When did the purpose come? When did you find that purpose, or was that later in those years?
You know, it's interesting. My purpose has been different at different phases in my life.
Good.
I think that I confused myself, and I think that many people confuse themselves thinking that they don't know their purpose. The reality is, everything isn't that deep. I think sometimes we really over-rationalize what we're supposed to be doing, instead of just living life every day, taking it day by day, being your best person. Your purpose will find you, is what I found. And so when I was in undergrad, never did I think I would be the Flower Guy Bron. Like, that was not even a thought. What was a thought is that I'd probably be a principal or some high level in the school system, assistant, superintendent of sorts.
Right.
That's really where I saw my life going, would be in higher ed or in the public school system some way. So that is really what I thought I was going to do. And then the hospitality bug bit. And that looked like kindness, and it came totally random. A friend of mine had a partner who was in the hospitality space, in florals and in catering, and gave Lloyd and I, my husband Lloyd and I, an opportunity to come earn a couple of extra dollars.
Wow.
And so we were out serving crudité and canapé in Georgetown to the folk that we never thought we could be.
Absolutely.
And that was where I saw hospitality, but not like the Holiday Inn. I saw hospitality, but like the Mandarin Oriental and the Four Seasons. It was a whole nother level of exposure that I have to credit Howard to, because that's how those connections all happen. And it opened my eyes to a different way of living. It's almost kind of like what you think Martha Stewart lives like, you know, how you think she lives.
Like the upper echelon.
Absolutely. It was a different lens. And I said, my God, you mean to tell me people live like this and people spend like this on a regular basis?
On a regular basis.
Oh, wow. You know, so like my exposure to flowers at that point was 1-800-Flowers or FTD, and, you know, into what is this? So from there, I graduated. I became an educator like I planned to do.
Good.
But what I was doing at home was creating a unique experience for our guests and for Lloyd and I at home through flowers. And so that was really where it all sparked. It all came from just seeing a different level of hospitality and living, and wanting not only to live a piece of it, but to create it as well for others. In particularly people who would not normally have that access.
Right. Got you. Okay. Good. And you mentioned you were an educator. And let's speak on that a little bit, because we have some followers, some viewers who are in education, but they want to start to pursue some type of business endeavor.
There's a lot of folk out there in that boat.
So speak on how you went from being an educator for however long, and to now just like we said, walking away and just fulfilling purpose.
That's a great question. And I think everyone's journey is going to be unique and different, and everyone's going to have a different risk tolerance. Everyone's going to have a different support system, and different people in their ear. My personal journey was, while I was working in the school system, I was the coordinator for autism and low incidence disabilities for the city of Richmond, and was a specialist. And it was a wonderful job in the sense that I had an opportunity to influence the instruction and the outcomes for students with disabilities. And that's always a passion for me. What became a challenge was the bureaucracy that did not allow me to operate at my full potential. Now, mind you, I'm a bison, so we're not used to doing anything mediocre. So I'm sitting here, you know, like, how am I in a meeting with my peers in other divisions, and their budgets are multi-millions of dollars, and I'm sitting here struggling to get an iPad for a kid. This can't be my life. This cannot be my life, and this won't be how I marked myself as a professional. So I said to myself, something's going to have to change. I didn't know what it was, but something's going to have to change. And it got to a point where I was so bogged down in the bureaucracy and the politics of what I was doing, and every meeting I was in was becoming more cantankerous, not because of me, but just because of the culture of the school system and education at that time. And so it got to a point where we had an advocate actually threaten to picket in front of my house because her claim was that I, as a black man, a proud black man, did not support the education and the advancement of black students in Richmond Public Schools.
Absurd.
And that was so wholly offensive to me that it wasn't worth defending. The only thing I could do was quit.
My God.
And I quit. And I said, you know what? There's not enough money in the world that could justify me exposing my excellent self to that. What does that look like? No. And then I went to talk to my bosses. It was this big meeting, and they were like, if you can't take the heat, they said that. If you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. Little did they know, I was already cooking the Flower Guy Bron. So that was an easier transition than they thought, but that was my business. And I kept it my business, and I transitioned on my own. Of course, with the full support of my family, and that's a big piece there too. So my advice would really be to take a step back, look at what you have invested in. If you've been working your job and you're vested, and you can figure out a way to work your passion and still have a nest egg and a livelihood that supports you without the ebb and flow of and having to worry about cash flow, I'm not going to tell you to leave that. I will say that personally, my gift made room for me. When I left Richmond Public Schools, I bet 100% on myself, and that faith component, the moment I left, my business sprawled. Wow. Absolutely. I had the time to invest in it. I had the brain, the capacity to network and to be in the spaces to promote my business. And things changed instantly.
Wow. That's amazing. Faith the size of mustard seed.
The size of a mustard seed. But I'm also not going to tell a young entrepreneur to be a fool and to just jump into the abyss. Like, don't get me wrong. There's some people, there's some stories that works, and it has happened. And if that's you, jump. But also, if you're taking care of you and your baby, and you're single, and you have your dream, I need you to take a step back and analyze, make the right decision for you and your family. And if that decision is, let's take the leap, say you're in the beauty space. Leap. Because you can't perform your beauty space at work.
You sure can. You're gonna get fired.
You're gonna get fired. You about to lose your job. Yeah. That part. Yeah. So, but you gotta work it. And then also this is what I'm realizing now, Braxton, is you really have to plan. A lot of things, and I'm a victim of being young. I fell victim to being young and making a lot of money early, and wanting all the things and getting all the things. But that comes at a cost. It comes at a cost to your bank. It comes at a cost to your credit. It comes at a cost to a lot of things. And then you look up and you're like, dang, I got all this stuff. But now, hey, so plan. If you want to make an exit, strategize to make your exit.
Yeah, that's for sure. I have my mentor and a couple of coaches have said this too. They said if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Absolutely.
So like you said, to your point, it's like you have to come up with a plan. You have to come up with a strategy. You can't just go out on this thing on a whim, go out willy-nilly. Yeah, there are some stories that have happened that way. They just went out and did it.
They stumbled across the idea, right?
They inherited something.
There you go.
Right? But you have to plan, you have to strategize, and to understand what's next in your journey. Everybody's journey is different, right?
That's right.
And so when you did all the things that you've done, you've come up on money, you've been in the education industry, and you've made that leap of faith to go into the Flower Guy Bron, and it's not just a floral company.
It's not. No,
as you can see,
it's a few things going on in here.
Yeah. So how did we get here?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked, because I think that people don't necessarily always see or appreciate the in between the blessings moment. My pastor just preached about, being, feeling like you're not seen, feeling like you've been left out because you're in between, right?
Yeah.
And I think where we are now is actually probably in between a blessing, even though in between this part of the blessing and the next one, right?
Absolutely.
So flowers, I would say the Flower Guy Bron is our flagship business. It has been the business that has allowed us opportunity to explore other options. And so with flowers, we've grown to, well, let's take it back. So early on, when we were just doing flowers, our couples would say, hey, Bron, will you help us with linen selection? Hey, Bron, will you help us, pick out our place settings? Hey, Bron, will you help? And the answer was always yes, because my thought is that any design decision that my families or my couples, my clients make is going to impact what we do. So it always benefits us to play a role, have some say in the design decisions. So then the asks started to become a little larger. Hey, Bron, do you know anyone who has this chair? Or do you know anyone who has that? And so we started to get in the habit of outsourcing a lot of things. So we were bringing in, a lighting company to light our presentations because, without the right lighting, you can have beautiful things, but you might not see it. So we were protecting our work and also kind of gifting our clients a little bit more. So like the pictures were better because of the lighting.
Yeah.
So we worked with this lighting company for years and years and years. And so he was ready to retire to Florida. And because of our relationship, he said, hey, would you be interested in, buying Leap? And it was a no-brainer because it was an easy add-on to my services. So I wasn't looking at things that were so abstract from what I'm doing. Lighting is not flowers, but lighting complements flowers. So we acquired Leap, which then gave us some production capacity, which was important because whereas a lot of florists exist, now what I can produce is bigger. So that's where I stood out in the crowd.
Got it, okay.
And then from there, I said, you know what, it would be really great because I'm outsourcing chairs, I'm outsourcing tables, I'm outsourcing bars, and I'm a businessman, so I can't help but see how much money I'm spending, and granted, I want trickle down, I want everyone to win, but we were in a position to acquire the rentals. So we found some vendors in overseas that we worked with, and we curated a collection of rental furniture to complement our work and to offer to our clients, but to also offer a affordable specialty rental option in the Richmond market. So that's how we've grown. There was strategy there, there was intentionality there, and that's been really it. I will say that, in terms of like between the blessings, now we're here, but now I look at, you talked about the service component of things, and what's your the essence of who you are and what you're supposed to be doing, and so now I'm kind of like, now I'm between here and what that is, whatever that looks like.
And all of the things that you have encompassed in what you do, it's adding value to other people's lives.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's what entrepreneurship, that's what servitude is all about.
Absolutely.
If you can add some type of value to other people's lives, they're going to reward you for it. They're going to pay you for it, right?
Yes,
and so the reward, like you said, but this is.
I
we
appreciate
talked
it.
earlier.
I appreciate it, and I'm still always
a larger
kind of taken
warehouse
back,
than
like,
this.
it's like I'm in here every day, so it feels like another extension of home. But again, I think it's important as an entrepreneur, and even those who are on a journey towards entrepreneurship. It's important to always take a step back, because when you're in the weeds, you really do miss a lot of the accomplishment. And then also, if you're operating from a service mentality, it's hard to actually even accept accolades and sometimes. So, take a step back and say like, okay, No, I might not have quit my full-time job yet, but I have increased my client base by 33% based on last year. And that, I say 33% because that was our business growth percentage every year. The first 5 years as we increased our business and revenue by 33% every year. And so just kind of acknowledge those things. And then it wasn't enough, you know, because I was like, oh, I want to make my first. And then I'm like, it was almost like an addiction, but it wasn't. I wasn't appreciating it. It was all happening so fast, and now I can like take a step back and be like, okay, all right, this is pretty cool.
Wow, it is pretty cool.
Thank you.
If I might add.
Thank you.
And you said something very interesting just now. You said you increased 33% the first 5 years.
Yeah.
All right. For those of you who don't know, the numbers may have changed, but in the first 5 years of starting a business or entrepreneurship, that's when you phase out or you just quit overall because it's too much.
Oh gosh.
Right.
Much.
So those 5 years, you see that increase of 33. Like, what is it? And I'm sure spirituality played a part into it. Like, what made you keep going?
Okay. So of course you mentioned spirituality, but I honestly, in all transparency, it probably wasn't what was keeping me going. And what was keeping me going was what I know now is like an entrepreneurial drive. I don't think everyone's cut out to be an entrepreneur. Some people need a 9-to-5 for security and dependability, all those things. But there's some folk who are just, you think about the person who goes to the casino, and you'd be like, how the hell do you keep going to the casino? Like, are you like, it's that kind of mentality. It's the risk taking of it all, which to me is like a dopamine rush, if you will. And you know, I might be on the spectrum just a tad bit myself. And so, you know, that dopamine rush, it does something for me. So, you know, I'm always looking for the next thing. But I think more so than anything that I did to drive the growth, it really was us showing up and being really excellent at what we did. And that mystique follows us to this day. Our brand is known for flawless service and excellent customer service. And before we were designing large events and had the clients that we have now, we were doing excellent events at the VFWs and excellent events at the lodges. And in any place that we were invited to, we saw it as the grandest ballroom and treated it with care. And that reputation is what grew us. It was people referring us to their friends. It was people seeing their money at work. People having access to us the way that they have paid to have access. People being able to get into my creative brain and their events change because of that access. That's why we grew. It wasn't really anything that I was doing but keeping my head down and not focused on the growth. I was focused on the service. And the service is what grew the business. Which is interesting now because I've seen a couple of different generations now. Now I can relate almost more so to some of my parents of my couples. If you think about it, you know, people are getting married in their 20s. I could be their parent. And so now service looks a lot different because younger couples are looking for, they have different things that they gravitate to, different styles of service and different everything. So, you know, you have to kind of move and shake and figure out how to serve the next generation. But at the end of the day, some things never go out of style. Hospitality and service will never go out of style. You can automate a lot of things, but you can't automate how you've made someone feel. And so once I get a couple in this space with their key stakeholders and decision makers, overwhelmingly they're going to book with us. It's the new transient mentality where everyone wants to just shop. And you know, you might want to get a proposal from 10 different people, and you think that you're comparing apples to apples. Hard to compete in that space. But when you come here, you're guaranteed to leave differently than you came.
Wow. And that's what you call a brand.
It's a brand.
That's what you call a brand.
Thank you for that. I heard someone say something about referencing a brand, and a brand is felt, you know, and thank you for saying that because, you know, I've been wearing this be for a while, and don't necessarily
Okay, 11 years. Wow.
Trying to figure out when the SCC paperwork was filed. That might lie on me, but I've been selling weddings. I've been selling them longer than I was.
No, that's right.
Longer than I had an EIN.
Off the books.
That's fine too.
Hey, that's off the books. You got to get it in where you fit in.
Get it now.
Yeah.
They know I exist now. Trust me.
Absolutely. And it's wild that you said that, because that leads to my next question. Yeah. It's like, been in business for over a decade now, and I'm sure that you have worked with a number of very prestigious clients.
Oh, of course.
Like, just explain to the viewers, like, just a couple of experiences that you've, like, oh my goodness, this is outrageous, but probably for you now, it's like, this is like normal now.
Yeah, so I'll probably touch on 3.
Okay.
And give you just a little synopsis. So we've done several professional athletes' weddings. In football, we've done very large starting player. I think he's a lineman. I don't, I'm not really a sports guy. Okay, my friends are. My friends are the guys. However, listen, I'm gonna support y'all when y'all winning and losing. That's all I got. It don't make no difference.
Yeah.
But we've done a few NFL players at very high levels. And I wouldn't share names, but you can go on our Instagram. You probably can find them. They have pretty significant social media followings. We've also even did another professional athlete. Actually didn't make it down the aisle, but definitely planned the entire wedding for the 50-yard line. We won't talk about that one.
Sheesh.
Yeah, didn't happen.
Planned it, but it didn't happen.
But
I paid
taxes on it though, because he paid me.
That's right. Oh my goodness, that's a word. I planned it, but it didn't happen.
That's it. Oops.
Jesus.
Do better. But I think really only one stands out more than even the ones that I just referenced. Those were excellent clients and absolute beautiful outcomes. But I do have one reoccurring client that is world class in every sense.
Yeah.
This particular client gives us the budget and the creativity, the space to be creative in a way that most creatives are never able to flex that type of experience. I mean, it's not from a bragging perspective. It literally is, we're paid to be creative, and the budget dictates the extent of that creativity.
Absolutely.
So when you have people who don't particularly have a budget, just have an expectation, that becomes a dream come true. And when you're looking at serving high need clients, those clients don't necessarily come the way you think that they're going to come. You might think that it's going to come through an inquiry or by word of mouth. Mine actually came by way of a cold email to a friend. And that turned into an introduction, that turned into a lifelong business relationship.
Wow.
And that particular business with this person has changed my business several times over.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. That's good. That's good. And you mentioned earlier in the interview about you and your husband working together initially. They were like, hey, can you do this? Can you do this?
Yeah.
Like, how is that now? Is that still a thing that y'all work together? And how beneficial is that y'all are able to work together in the same space and be creative?
So it's good you ask. In the very beginning, before there were like softwares and programs and all this stuff, Lloyd was creating spreadsheets to optimize our production and to optimize our profitability
Okay.
in terms of stem counts. And so we've never been the florist to just order a bunch of stuff and put it together and like it. We've always been very scientific in our numbers and having exact recipes. So I can tell you exactly how much this arrangement costs, from the vase, my cost with the vase, my cost with the flowers, my cost with the strip of tape.
Wow.
And so that level of detail and attention to making sure that we're charging appropriately for everything that we have and we're offering has come from Lloyd. Now, Lloyd's background is he's an engineer by trade, an electrical engineer, and he has a master's degree in systems engineering. But he's a project management professional, a PMP. And so having a project management professional's eyes on operations has been invaluable. So what it looks like now is he does big oversight. So he'll do auditing of some of our proposals occasionally to make sure that we're charging appropriately. He's sometimes monitoring, the market and flower costs and updating our systems to make sure that when we're doing our inputs that profits are appropriate. And then he really is our operations arm. So scheduling trucks, scheduling the teams based on the scope of the work, and making sure that the lights are on. And an electrical engineer and working for our public utility, he technically does keep the lights on. So keeps the lights on here and for our public utility. So it's been a great experience. I think we spend a lot more time together. Even though he does work a full-time job, we spend a lot more time together than a lot of couples do. It's not just, coffee in the morning out the door, and then dinner and TV time. It's a lot of interaction. But what I will say is we're able to take pride in what we have built. Of course, I'm the forward, front-facing person of our businesses, but the operation side of it could not be possible without his input. And it makes us stronger. It makes us a stronger couple. We know each other better. We argue at home. We argue here. It is what it is. But that is not the culmination of it. It really is a beautiful transaction and appreciation for our strengths.
Good. And as the cliche goes, teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely.
Right? So
Absolutely.
It's very powerful that y'all are able to make that work.
And it's not easy all the time. He has his brain is wired, one way, and my brain is wired a different way. But what we have learned to do is to respect and fully embrace that brain strength of the other. Lloyd is analytical, Lloyd is technical, and I am full on creative and in whimsy most of the time. And so he does not want me to be analytical. He wants me to thrive in this space. So we're not trying to get each other to see from our lens. I trust his lens and we'll default to it every single time.
Wow, trust is big.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And, wow. Explain to us how big is trust in this industry that you have?
So I'm a relationship guy, and so everything is about trust. So trust for me in this industry looks different in different arenas. I'll try to think about a few different ways of what trust for me looks like, and we'll start with my team. So I have 2 team members, one in particular who has been with me for 10 of the 11 years.
Wow.
And she is a full-time employee. Her name is Ronnie. Ron and Bron was Ronnie and Bronny, right? So we have been designing side by side for a very long time. So she can be me behind the designer's desk. She can design like I design. She can meet with my clients, and I can trust that regardless of it being my business, she will handle it with care. And that is because I believe it's because of her character, first of all. But secondly, I believe it's because she knows that I trust her, and that comes with a cost and a responsibility. But also treating her as though she is an owner. And giving her input and giving her information beyond this is what I need you to do, so that she understands the nuts and the bolts of the industry and the business. So that's trust. Here in the warehouse, of course, we have to have trust that our teams are going to handle our equipment with care and be safe. But trust outside of our warehouse looks like some of the vendor teams that we've developed over the years. So, you would know from other conversations that I've been working with another one of our childhood friends, Nika, from the very beginning of our career.
Right.
And trust in that regard looks like my first wedding in history was Nika's wedding. Not her first wedding, but the first wedding I ever performed was a wedding that she was planning. And because of our service to her and her client, she trusts us with most of her weddings. And so just being able to say you're going to do something and to do it, and to do it with a level of excellence, that's what trust looks like. Now, let's talk about trust in the industry, the bigger industry. And that looks a little different for me. Before COVID, I was really big on Instagram, and Facebook. I was always going live at my events. I'm going to start doing more of that.
Okay.
Because I believe it's important. I'm seeing more of the importance now, as generations change and people are absorbing information differently. But we've been fortunate enough that mostly word of mouth and relationships have been our pipeline for referrals. Well, trust in the bigger picture with the industry is a little tricky at times.
Okay.
Being a small Black business with a large impact, not just here locally, but for my industry, we're known. That hasn't always been the nicest exchange. Living here in Richmond, former capital of the Confederacy, offering major services, big expensive services, in spaces where we might not have always been recognized or welcome, has come with, moments of hostility, and angst, and that hasn't always felt very good.
Got it.
And so trust, I have my antennas up.
Yeah,
often.
for sure. Yeah.
When we're in spaces, my team is diverse but still overwhelmingly brown. And so I'm aware that being in uniform helps keep us safe.
Absolutely.
My strike team goes with Flower Guy Bron, strike apparel, so that they're, trust is what I trust. I'm a trusting person, but I've seen enough to know that I can't give everything to everyone, and I have to protect my space and my people.
Yeah, not everybody gets the same access.
No,
Yeah.
no. That's a tough lesson. I learned that over time.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
you want people to love you, you want people to accept you, so you give access, and then you look back and it's like, where this person found themselves probably isn't where God intended them to be.
Amen.
I did that.
Yeah.
I did that. I created this, and that's why it's not working.
Yeah, and sometimes that access has to be snatched back too. So
I'm living it. I'm living it. And it's a good lesson to learn. The earlier you learn it, the better. But again, even those moments, the time that you spent with those people, where even though you're now snatching that access, that time was not missed. It was still valuable time.
Yeah.
The relationship was still real, and the experience was novel.
Yeah.
But you have to acknowledge when it's time to move.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and that's one of the biggest things. Not just with entrepreneurship or business owners, it's with life as well. Like, you have to know when to shift and when to make that pivot. And so when did you know that it was time to make that pivot, to go to the next dimension of your business? Yeah,
so for me, I have those moments more often than I'd like to. I could probably pivot to another business, not from another business, but into another business as often as I have an idea. And I can think tank businesses. Yeah. I can birth a business out of my head daily.
Yeah.
In my industry, or in any industry. If you could tell me what you do, I can think about 5 ways that you might not have thought about to consider layering on something. So that's the serial entrepreneur in me. Now, thinking about when to make the move, for me personally, it happens in a season of indifference, and feeling like I'm kind of stagnant and not making the impact that I feel like I should be making. I'm not enjoying the things that I used to enjoy, and I get an itch, and it's just a general discomfort that either I need to get on another path or I need to reimagine something.
Right.
And so I think that being aware and being clear-minded enough to hear.
Yeah.
Because I think that the signals are always there. I believe that everything that we need, we have. And so it's just a matter of being in the place to receive the red light, the green light. And so fortunately, more times than not, I have listened to the green light and given myself permission to make whatever move that is.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling it right now. I'm in one of those between spaces and ready to go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's like it's always like it's on my mind. Like, all right, what can I do next? What can I like?
What can I do next?
How can I impact somebody else in a different way?
And you know, Braxton, it's funny because my what to do next used to be driven on what service can I layer on to my business to generate more revenue. That is where it always started.
Yeah.
And then as I've gotten older and more mature, and realized that, you know, and I'm not a wealthy person, but I listen and pay attention to wealthy people's stance on their wealth. And it really isn't the accumulation. It is the service. It is how my wealth and what I have, how I use it for the good of someone else, for impact. And so that's kind of more so what I'm excited about now. I'm excited about how can I help somebody do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Wow, it's amazing because again, I'm in here looking at all of this, and we've talked earlier about all of the things about like what can I do for others, right? And you started off with the floral.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like where did you start getting the flowers from? I know we mentioned the 1-800 flowers and all that stuff. But like I know you probably started off at a smaller scale and now it's probably overseas. Like explain that to us.
Yeah, so the process of flowers, like, you know, you can look in your backyard and there's flowers. You can go to the park, there are flowers. So flowers are everywhere. However, with events the scale of what we do, you know, local flowers or what you might be able to, you know, gather from your garden would not perform enough for us. So we have to secure a pipeline and guarantee a pipeline of flowers from a few different sources. So we do have wholesalers, and I'd say local wholesalers in the sense that we get a truck from Silver Spring, Maryland, or from Delaware. And so those trucks bring us, you know, some product, everyday things, but overwhelmingly our sources are coming from international brokers and farm direct. So we have relationships with the growers themselves who are sending us the flowers via freight and via airplane. So we have a team who goes to pick up flowers from the airport pretty regularly, but then we're also getting deliveries here. But it's all about sourcing based on the client's needs. So, you know, every client has a different recipe, every client has a different aesthetic. And so we'll be sourcing these materials from wherever the aesthetic requires us to. But, you know, the fortunate thing about technology these days is that a lot of flowers that used to be seasonal can be grown indoors somewhere.
Wow.
So it really isn't about, you know, that seasonality. Some people are like, oh, well, no, we want to save some money and, you know, work with flowers that are in season. But the backstory is everything's in season
now.
Yeah, good try.
Gotcha.
What do you want? Yeah, because we got it.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. And before we wrap up here, I want to ask this one more question. Out of all the things that I saw that you recently worked with one of our clients that we just did a podcast with, Jessica.
Yes.
Jessica Myrick. You were in the space with her. But what's next?
Man. What's next? So there are two things that I'm most looking forward to. And the first thing I'm looking forward to is being a parent. That is very exciting.
Yeah.
Lloyd and I have checked a lot of boxes. We've been, married for a long time. We're in college together, so we know each other.
Right.
There's not a lot more figuring out that we can do.
Right.
We excelled in business, and he's excelled professionally. So like I said, we've checked a lot of boxes, and a lot of the things that have made us happy, whether it's accolades and accomplishments or trappings, are no longer as fulfilling as they once were.
Got it.
And never really being a materialistic person in that regard. But I mean, if you don't have anything to dote over, you just dote over yourself, right? So looking forward to being able to be in a space to create opportunity and to mold a young life is we believe or are anticipating is going to be life changing.
Yeah.
Like to the point where we don't even want to know the sex until the baby is born.
Wow.
Like we want that type of wild emotion.
Yeah.
Like wild emotion, and that I think we will only get starting it that way. So very excited about that journey.
Yeah.
Also very excited about entering to more of a service space, a human services space, where we can serve people really where they are at the ground level of need, whether that is substance abuse, whether that is mental health. I have a immediate family member who struggles with mental health issues, and just seeing the need for support, and also struggles with substance abuse. And so I'm just kind of looking at that type of programming, and having that spirit of hospitality and that holistic desire to help people, and then having a personal tie to it. I think that the next space that I'll find myself in is supporting people with disabilities, and that have various recovery needs.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing, man. All right, yeah, wow, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right, so we're gonna finish up with the big three.
All right.
All right, every team, every brand, every organization, dynasty has their big three.
Okay.
All right, so we got.
I hope I had three. Hope I got one.
All right, so the first two questions are one-word answers.
Okay.
And then the last one is like a sentence or quote or whatever.
All right.
All right, here we go. The biggest contributor to my success is my what?
Drive.
Okay. One word to describe your journey is?
A roller coaster.
A roller coaster. And the last one is, what is the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I have ever received. That's a great question. The best advice I've ever received really has always been be yourself. You got to be true to you. And that shows up everywhere in every decision that you make. Personally, in every personal decision, in every business decision, as long as you're able to redirect it back to you and you being your purpose, your why, your who questions. Who am I? What am I? What am I here to do? If you go back to those WH questions about you, and that is where your decisions and your processes are rooted. You can't steer wrong.
Can't steer wrong. There we go. Listen, this is something new. All right,
so
we're gonna start it with you. One final thought for the viewers, man. What you got for them? One final thought.
One final thought. Well, first, thank you so much for listening. I would tell you that wherever you are on your journey, just know that Romans 8:28 says things will work out for you. And that's it.
Wow. Romans 8:28. If you don't know it, you better open that Bible.
It's going to work out. It's going to work out.
Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in, listening, and watching to see what we have to say. This was another phenomenal episode. Before I get out of here, let people know where they can find you on social media, please.
Well, you can find us on every social media outlet at the Flower Guy Bron. That is Facebook, Instagram, and then if you'd like to go to our website, theflowerguybron.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Absolutely. That's a
Thanks for
wrap,
having
man.
me.
Appreciate it. Thank you for
My pleasure.
joining us, man. We really appreciate it, man. And ladies and gentlemen, again, if you have not already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. These episodes are going to air every Thursday at 7 p.m. And we have a phenomenal lineup of some heavy hitters right here in the Richmond area. And we're gonna start traveling soon, but we gotta cover Richmond first. We gotta stay home first.
Charity begins at home.
Absolutely, absolutely. So y'all be good, man. If you know it, say it with me. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Until next time, we'll holler at y'all.
Peace.
Peace.